Louisville, home of the best scrapper, also home of the best rap.
You an American, right? You an American, right? Where was Manny Pacquiao?
What up, what up? You're watching Red Room Sports, home of Ollieland, Boxing Talk, the Louisville Cardinals Daily, and the Ghetto Angler only on the weekends. Alright, y'all, so recently, Keith one-time Thurman,
Manny Pacquiao coming through, moving quick with those legs, throwing a combination punching.
ripped Bob Arum a new one. And we're going to discuss that, man. Plus, why Terrence Crawford is ducking Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. Alright, y'all, I'm going to give y'all the real reason. First off, I want to let Keith Thurman say his piece. And then I want to break down what Keith Thurman recently said about Bob Arum, and then we'll go into what that means about Crawford, Pacquiao, and Thurman and Spence. So let's let Thurman get into it, man.
Yeah, new cut, man. New cut, new look, new year, new everything, people. We out here, man. We out here. Keep your goddamn mouth shut, Bob. You want a cheap-ass fight? I'll punch you in yours for free. How about that? I'm going to snap on Bob real quick. You're one of the worst motors in the game. All of your great fighters left your ass. Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao left your ass. Crawford, he about to leave your ass. Bob, you know what's up. It ain't my fault. You can't afford a great fight. Barely pay your own fighters good money. You got ESPN backing you. You got Terrence Crawford. And you can't get him paid. You can't make him famous enough. You got Max Kellerman sipping on all the Crawford juice. Bob, what did $2 million buy you your last fight? Realness. Thurman ain't no punk. Me and Pacquiao was a very exciting fight. I fought him almost one-handed. Now, you mad you can't afford a PBC fighter. Now, you mad you can't afford a PBC fighter.
How challenging is it going to be to find Crawford an opponent?
No. Give him 2 fights this year. Probably can't be Spence for the first fight.
You can't afford us, Bob. I'm sorry.
Alright, y'all, so you just heard from one-time Thurman, man, regarding his thoughts about Bob Arum. He had some interesting thoughts about Terrence Crawford and what he should be doing with the remainder of his boxing career. And he spoke about a lot of things, you know, his willingness to fight people and not being afraid to lose that I think a lot of what he said was true. I think some of what he said was a little bit of sensationalism as far as what he said about Bob Arum not being able to pay his fighters. Now, some of what he's saying is true. I don't think Bob Arum wants to be handing out bags of money in the fashion that he did with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. I don't think he wants to be in that business anymore. I think he wants these guys to I think he wants good boxers to build their name and their legacy based off their boxing ability and their ability to sell fights. And I think there's a disconnect at the moment between Bob Arum, his fighter, and reality. And you know, I like Bob Arum as a promoter because he did a lot of good things for the sport in the past. So don't get me wrong and think I don't think Bob Arum's a slime bag like everybody else, but he was good for the sport at one point. But I think the sport is slowly passing him by. Now, one thing, like I said before, that Thurman said that I think is not true is about the money. ESPN has the money to pay those fighters. The real reason that there is a possibility Terrence Bud Crawford might be leaving Top Rank Boxing is because he has nobody to fight at Top Rank Boxing. It's not because Bob Arum can't pay him. It's not because he puts up horrible pay-per-view numbers. It's not because he's not a good boxer. It's because there is nobody left over there for him to fight. And when it comes to making fights, the PBC fighters are freezing you out because you want too much of the pie. Basically, you know, Terrence Crawford is commanding too big a piece of the pie, which is holding up a lot of his fights. Now, whether that's a negotiating tactic or that's his own tactic that he's putting out there so he doesn't have to fight certain fighters, which is very interesting. You can build a guy up. You can build a guy up so big by fighting nobodies, and it was intriguing or interesting the way he became a champion. This is where I think a lot of people forget. Earl Spence Jr., he fought, I believe, Sean Porter. He fought Sean Porter, I believe, to become unified champion. It was either Sean Porter or Keith Thurman. One of those guys he beat to become unified champion. Okay, so you had Earl Spence Jr. beat a credible, solid, outstanding fighter to become a champion and to become unified champion. And then you have Terrence Crawford, who beat Jeff Horn, who stole a belt from Manny Pacquiao through Bob Arum. And, think of what you may about Jeff Horn or, hey, Pacquiao lost in some people's mind. But the obvious fact is they stole that belt from Pacquiao. And Crawford went and beat Jeff Horn. And now, who is Jeff Horn? You haven't heard anything about Jeff Horn in the past 2 years since Terrence Crawford beat him. You haven't heard Jeff Horn's name, not a peep. And nobody talks about this. That everybody wants to point out how great Terrence Crawford is. This is the guy who beat Jeff Horn to become a champion. You know what I'm saying? Take nothing away from Terrence Crawford or even Jeff Horn, but Jeff Horn is not a credible name in the boxing world. And there's nobody out here who can tell me that Jeff Horn is a credible name in the boxing world. So let's keep that in mind. Terrence Crawford became a champion off of beating Jeff Horn. He didn't beat a Danny Garcia. He didn't beat a Sean Porter. He didn't beat a Keith Thurman. He didn't beat a Danny Garcia. He didn't beat a Mikey Garcia. None of these great names that are out there, he didn't beat them to become champion.
How challenging is it going to be to find Crawford an opponent?
No. Give him 2 fights this year. Probably can't be Spence for the first fight.
He didn't even beat Kell Brook to become champion. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't beat a credible name in the boxing world to become welterweight champion. On the other hand, you have guys like Keith Thurman who beat a credible name to become welterweight champion. You have guys like Manny Pacquiao who's still active, although getting older, who beat a credible name at 40 years of age to become welterweight champion. And you have guys like Earl Spence Jr. who beat a couple of credible names to become welterweight champion of the world. And then you have Terrence Crawford, who kind of was given the welterweight championship in my eyes because Manny Pacquiao was exiting. Bob Arum saw an opportunity to get the belt back. Though I want to say fixed fight, hey, it is what it is. We all saw what happened to Manny Pacquiao during the Jeff Horn fight, and that is how Terrence Crawford received his championship belt. So if you want to base it off of who you fought, if you want to base it off of how much money you're bringing in, so if you want to talk about the money side of it, I think one of the reasons that the Manny Pacquiao Terrence Crawford fight isn't going to happen is because of money. Manny Pacquiao, if he deals with Bob Arum again, is going to be commanding that $20 million that he was getting from Bob Arum when he dealt with Bob Arum when he was under the Top Rank banner, simply because Bob Arum owes him money. So anytime he deals with Bob Arum, he's going to try under his Manny Pacquiao Promotions to get the biggest piece of the pie he possibly can. So we know Bob Arum's not gonna make a Manny Pacquiao fight with Terrence Crawford simply based off the money. He got rid of Pacquiao in the first place based off the money because he saw, hey, I can give Terrence Crawford $4 or $5 million, and I'm gonna make him such a big star through ESPN. I think that's probably what he thought, and I can get rid of Manny Pacquiao, save myself $15 million a fight, and still make what I was making, because I think he thought, I think at the time when he was setting all that up, he thought, hey, well, Pacquiao's just going to disappear after this Jeff Horn fight, which didn't happen. Pacquiao was actually reinvigorated for some reason after that Jeff Horn loss, and has re-cemented his name in the welterweight division of boxing. So when you think about why is Terrence Crawford ducking Errol Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao, you got to think two things. And I think Keith Thurman touched on both of those things. It is Bob Arum and it is money standing in the way. And Bob Arum spoke on another thing that I feel like is holding all of this up. It's the lack of a gate. It's the lack of fans being in the audience. You can't have fights of this magnitude and expect them to make what they would have made off the gate off of pay-per-view sales or off of TV app. It's not going to happen. You know, you're not going to. You can't compare 40 or 50,000 people showing up to Cowboy Stadium to 200,000 people buying it on pay-per-view. Because if you added that 200,000 with that 50,000 that showed up to the Cowboy Stadium, then you have millions upon millions of hundreds of millions of dollars that you're playing around with, compared to what these people are seeing now, which is they're still seeing a lot of money off these fights because a lot of people are stuck at home and they want to watch something good when it comes to sports, so they're tuning in to these events, but they're not making what they would have made off the gate. So that's another thing that's holding up this fight. And I feel like, unfortunately for Terrence Crawford, he's going to get blamed the most for ducking because it seems like he's the one who doesn't want to make the fights. Because if you're truly that good, if you're truly the guy at 147 pounds, the money shouldn't even be a factor. You shouldn't even be thinking about the money. Your legacy is what you're building your career off of. People love boxers based off of what they've done in the ring, not based off of how much money they've made. And that's the Floyd Mayweather effect. The effect Floyd Mayweather has had on the sport of boxing is these guys think, well, if I'm the richest boxer, I'm actually the best boxer. If I have the most money or I have the most shiny chain and I have the biggest fan base, well, that makes me the best boxer, which is the complete opposite of reality in the fight game, because these guys got to go in there and prove. And this is why Manny Pacquiao can be 42 years of age and still be knocking guys down and making these younger fighters look simply ridiculous. So let me know what y'all think about Bob Arum, getting ripped by Keith Thurman, and the reason that Terrence Crawford is actually ducking Errol Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. If you want to use that word, you can say that he's pricing himself out of a fight with either one of those guys. That's a better word than ducking. I think people in the YouTube world, they use these words because they're trigger words and they get clicks, man. So, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. I hate to ramble on so much, but when you're talking about a hot topic like this, you gotta put it all out there, man. You can't just put it in a few words. You gotta lay it all out on the line. And I feel like money and the lack of fans is the reason we're not getting these fights right now. So don't let people blow smoke up your backside, man, and let you think, well, this guy's ducking him because his skills. It's not nothing to do with that. It's all to do with money. Now, I think Manny Pacquiao, on the other hand, is a curveball to Spence and Crawford because he's so talented, and I think they both run the risk of their careers being over if Pacquiao beats them. Not over, because look at Thurman. He's gonna come back and make good money still in the sport of boxing, but it's not gonna be on the level that these guys are at now. Look at Broner. He's gonna come back even though he's going through this whole broke situation. He fought Pacquiao, lost, and he could still have a solid career, but these guys are not going to be on the level of invincibility like some sports casting networks want to make you think that they are. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Hated I had to ramble on so much, but hope you enjoy Red Room Sports, Ollie Land Boxing Talk, the Louisville Cardinals Daily, and the Ghetto Angler Fishing, man. right here on Red Room Sports. Your boy Cardinal Red, man. Hit that like button for me. Please subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell your dog, your cat, mama, daddy, auntie, uncle. It's your boy. And we are out of here, man.
You an American, right? You an American, right? Where was Manny Pacquiao?
Louisville, home of the best scrapper, also home of the best rapper.